Spartans! What is your profession?
Yes, people, another edition of Knightz and the Round Table Discussions where we discuss all sports all the time. Got my guy, The Truth, with me. How are you doing, sir?
Man, it's been a bad week. I don't like weeks here when we lose and Man United win, especially so handsomely. Hate those weeks. So worst weeks. Because no matter what, I'm just looking at United. Like, I don't even look at anything. I'm not looking at City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham. I'm just looking to catch United in it. I can't let those fans run riot.
Oh, this is why no one rates us, bruv. Because even though we're in second place here, everyone's like, yes, we're still chasing United.
Yes, man. Okay. until it's mathematically impossible, even then, I'm harboring hopes of catching United.
This guy. As usual, people, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe on the channel. Get them likes up, hit that like button, get the comments up. Facebook page is done, Instagram page is done. They're going to be in the description as well. I know the
stepping
truth.
up, guys. We're
stepping up.
We're
stepping up.
Trust me.
Slowly but surely we are getting there. It is the Prem Review / Prem Preview show. We didn't bother to do a review of that terrible game at the weekend, that 0-0 draw game.
Yeah,
there was no point.
Exactly.
But we
There's
are
nothing
back.
to review, mate. There's nothing to review.
We are back. United coming off a brilliant result. And 9-0 absolutely ran riot against Southampton. Arsenal having a bad midweek after a 2-1 loss against Wolves, going down to 9 men. And we're going to get straight into that because obviously we know the truth is burning right now about what happened in that game. Truth, it was literally a game of two halves, even though an incident happened at the end of the first half. It was a game of two halves because watching that game, because obviously my other half is an Arsenal fan, bro, that was probably the best 44 minutes of football I've seen from Arsenal in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely dominant. You lot should have been 3-4-0 up.
Yeah.
In that game.
Woodwork twice.
Yeah, and Saka had a goal ruled out as well. And then obviously, as we know, Sideshow Bob strikes again. Another red card. What is that? Is that his sixth red card in 2 years at the club or something like that?
Third red card, 6 penalty given away.
Oh, third red card, 6 penalty given away in 2 and a bit years at the club, which is absolute madness. And then Calamity Leno, bruv. I don't know. He must have been watching some David James videos because him coming out and obviously the handball that led to Arsenal going down to 9 men. Just sum up how you saw the game, and then we'll get into and break down the main incident that happened in the game.
So what I want to do is I want to start with the bad and then end with the good, because you know they've always said leave people with the good, you know, always leave people with the good at the end so they remember it. But in terms of the bad, for me, is an issue that I've always that's always underlined. Arteta's done a good job in getting rid of the Wenger era, Emery era players, because they don't have the stomach, they don't have the heart, and they've got this tendency to just always make mistakes. You know, the Mustafis, Kolasinac, Socrates, you know, happy to get these players out. But then you've got a player like David Luiz, who is susceptible as well to these real lapse of content. And the thing is, after rewatching it, I was really harsh initially on him. I've softened it a bit because looking at it, Holding showed a little bit of inexperience. He was partly to blame as well because he should have been more aware of his surroundings and whatnot. But in terms of Luis, I just wanted him to be a little bit more street smart. I think we discussed it in the group where he had two options where he could have made a genuine attempt to go win the ball. He would have escaped with a yellow, or leave it to your goalkeeper. Just leave it to your goalkeeper. He was already through. If you're running, don't run right behind him. I think Luis knew what he was doing. And as a defender, I've done it myself. I've done it myself where obviously back in, school times or back in Sunday league times, you might get away with it because the striker might be a bit more, won't go down as easily. Where you run behind them and you don't make a challenge, you just run behind them because you know that you may clip them or they may clip you. So you don't make a challenge, it looks innocuous. The referee might just call it a dive, but in the era of VAR, you're not going to get away with that. And he didn't get away with it. I know a lot of people are saying that it was harsh and whatnot, but if I'm a striker, for me, is only one thing. It's a penalty, and once it's a penalty, it has to be a red card, whether he made a challenge or not. People are saying, "Oh, he didn't make a challenge. He didn't initiate contact." His positioning, running behind the player, is a challenge in itself. You and I both know, you being the ref, you know the ins and outs more specifically than others. Even though you don't make a challenge, running behind somebody is a challenge in itself because they have the advantage because they have the ball. So you're basically running into their space. Think about it like basketball. If someone goes up for a shot and you're in their landing zone, when they land, you're giving away a foul. Same thing here. He was in the zone of the player that had the ball. So, there was contact made. It's a foul. It's a penalty. Has to be a red card because it was a clear goal scoring opportunity. I've got nothing wrong with that. The Leno red card again happens. Lapse of concentration, which we know Leno is used to, and it's just I'm frustrated because we were on a good run, momentum was there, and these lapses of concentration mistakes are, brutal in the Premier League. Hopefully that we could recover against Villa. Otherwise, it's we're one of those teams that are very short on confidence. So when one bad result happens, we tend to have many bad results in a row. So hopefully it's just an outlier. It's just one result. We could just sweep it under the carpet and go on to the next one and beat Villa away, I think. So away.
No, you're not away at Villa.
Yeah.
Go back to away games. I mean, as I said, I watched the game, saw it, called it straight away, said it was a penalty and a red card. I've seen many people argue, saying that it shouldn't have been a red card, it should have been a yellow. And obviously people are saying, how dumb is it that if he would have made a challenge, he would have got a yellow card, but because he didn't make a challenge or he clipped him, it's a red card. It's not, in this instance, it's not about the severity of the challenge. Yeah. It's the fact that he is the last man. He's running for a own goal, and there's no genuine attempt to play the ball. And one of the reasons why this rule was brought in, is mainly for the goalkeepers, where a player's run through on goal, they're in, and then the players just kick the ball like five yards wide. Goalkeeper's taken out, and they've given the goalkeeper a red card because he's deemed as a last man. That is the main reason why this rule was brought in. Okay. With David Luiz, because I had seen Rio Ferdinand said, that means if I smash through the player, I'm only going to get a yellow card. No, you're not, because that's violent conduct. So you're still going for a red card. But if you're trying to hook around him to try and get the ball, that's completely different. And I know how it looks and I know how it sounds. It sounds like what absolute bullshit this is.
I still think that's a red. I was listening to one of the referees, and there's still a red card even if you try hook, because you have to remember, I don't know if it's still in the rules, but as far as from what I remember, a tackle from behind, is 70% of the time it's a red card. So in that situation, because the ball's so far away, the ref can judge there was no actual attempt to win the ball.
Oh yeah. There's a little bit, but I think you can get away with it. There's a little loophole in it. It's not always going to work, but this is this is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. As I said, when we had the conversation in the group, the first thing, even before I went into the actual incident, I spoke about David Luiz and the poor positioning to allow the striker in. And there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then like in that instance, you just got to try and trust your goalkeeper.
Yeah.
This was a guy that's never played. I don't think he never played in the Premier League. He looked like he wasn't moving, to be honest. And I reckon Leno probably would have saved it if they would have let him shoot.
Yeah, don't you just leave it? You just leave it. Just leave it. You honestly just leave it. What he could have done, I don't know if he was trying to. It didn't look to me like he was trying to get around, to be honest.
No,
if you're trying to get you angle your run, so you know, so yeah, I'm a realist when it comes to these kind of stuff. I know the refereeing rules, to be honest, so I'm not gonna come down too hard on the referee and say, oh, they did this, that. For me, it's a pen, it's a red. I've got nothing about it, got no quarrels about it.
And then obviously Wolves went on to win the game 2-1. Even to be honest, even against 10 men, it looked like you lot could have got something out of the game, to be honest, because that's how fragile Wolves were in that game. But you said you wanted to get rid of the negative. But in the positives, I mean, as I said, best 44 minutes I've seen from Arsenal in a long time. Absolutely on fire. Saka, Pepe, Smith Rowe, who's been a revelation, Lacazette, Partey was looking good. Like that first 44 minutes, I said 3-4-0 up, was brilliant. In terms of seeing that, can you lot now take that forward into the next game? I know you're not going to have Leno, and I know which is going to be a miss. David Luiz is going to miss. You could get Gabriel's better. But I think Leno's going to be a miss just because of the reserve goalkeepers that you've got. But can you take that momentum from the first half into the game away against Villa, considering that Villa are not on a great run themselves?
Yeah, no, definitely. The way they played. So as I said, the way that we played in that, and it's been coming actually. If you have seen our performances recently, we've kind of taken the shackles off, and Arteta's even transitioned from the 3-4-3 formation into a 4-2-3-1 formation,
which you've been crying for.
Yeah, which we've been crying for. It's more of a build-up. It's more like he wanted the players to get that confidence, and we're just slowly building up, which is very good in terms of management. And we know how he wants to play. We do want to be progressive with the ball. We don't want to always be counter-attacking, especially against teams that we should be beating, or the lower league teams. So I'm happy. I was thrilled with the way that we've been playing. I think it's fantastic. We need to be a little bit more deadly when it comes to striking. I think, we need to finish off those shots. As you said, we should have been 3-4 up, but I'm not going to hold it against him because Saka's still young. Lacazette isn't really prolific. I know Oba came on second half, and he had that chance, but obviously he missed a few games. So look, for me, the good of this game, I have to see the good. I know it was 3 drop points that we should have taken to get, keep in contention in 4th place. Because at this stage now, after January, that's where dropping points starts to get, you start to feel it a bit. It just becomes a longer journey to get up to those places. And I still do have a place of being in and around 4th place when the season ends, if we can go on a good run.
Do you think you can get that form from the position that you lot are in now? Do you think that
now, let's look at the table.
I think you lot are 9th, no?
10th.
So
we're 10th, 31 points. We are 9 points behind top 4. It's hard, but I do harbor hopes up top 4. At the moment, it's not realistic, but I do have to just look back at last year to see what Man United did when they reined in 12 points off Leicester, and Leicester are there again. We know in the second half of the season Leicester tend to crumble a bit, even though this season, I think Brendan Rodgers has talked about it, and they're a little bit more consistent going into this season. But the games are going to come thick and fast. Leicester are in Europe.
Yeah.
So it's going to get to a thing where Leicester are going to be juggling. Do we go for Europe or do we stick with the league? Yeah, especially if they're around fourth place, it's going to be very hard for them. European competition. European competition is going to affect us as well. Are we going to go for the league in the position that we're in, or are we just going to go for the Europa? It's a hard one for us.
What would you do? Would you just say, being in ninth, I know obviously said 9 points off top four, and obviously with the way how the league is this season, you could easily eat up those amount of points, but considering the amount of places you have to climb and all the games that are going to, do you just throw your, not all the eggs at this stage, but do you throw about 60% of the eggs into Europa League to try and get Champions League football and a trophy, and then 40% into the league, or do you still go 50-50 and try and do both?
I just don't think we can, because what it is that Europa is a knockout, and there's so many, unlike the Champions League, with the Champions League, once you get past the last 16, you're straight into the quarterfinals. And then once you're in the quarterfinals, bam, you can focus on the Champions League, because it's quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals. With the Europa League, there's the extra leg in between, the round of 32, then the last 16. And that extra fixture makes it so you can't really fully commit, because you could get knocked out. You could get knocked out early, and then if you're committed to the Europa League, that leaves your league pointless. That's where we were last season, even though we had the FA Cup to play for. We got knocked out in the Europa League, and then we were just nowhere in the league. So at this moment in time, I would say focus on the league. If we get knocked out the Europa League early, at least then we focused on the league. So we should be close to fourth place or thereabouts. And we don't have FA Cup to worry about. So at the moment in time, I do want to focus on the league. If we do get to the quarterfinals of the Europa League, I think that's the mark. If we hit the quarterfinals, then that's when we start taking it seriously. That's when we start going hell for leather. Let's probably rest a few people in a few league games, focus on that Europa League, because I do think we are one of the 3 teams that could win the Europa League this season. Us, United, and Inter Milan are put up there. I do think we are one of the 3 teams that could win it. But if United are challenging for the league, I don't think they're going to go for the Europa seriously at all. So I'm not going to really put them in there. And that leaves Inter Milan. Again, if they're fighting for the league title, they're not going to go for the Europa League as hard. So it's an opportunity. It's a definite opportunity. I know Tottenham are probably going to go hell for leather for the Europa League now.
They need a trophy.
They need it. Yeah, they need a trophy. I think they need champion. I'll tell you what, in this situation, Tottenham need Champions League more than they need a trophy. You know that?
Nah, their fans want a trophy.
No, I know their fans. I know their fans listen, but what people aren't talking about is COVID has hit Tottenham so hard.
The money. Yeah, the money.
COVID has hit Tottenham more than any other team, because the whole plan of their stadium was that for the last 2 seasons, they were supposed to be having basketball, NFL games, boxing, the Premier League. They have not been able to bring in any
concerts as well.
That income. Yeah, concerts. They have not been able to do any of that. And NFL and boxing are rich. They gross about 1-2 million. I think, they gross about 2 million every game, and that's a lot. So imagine missing out all of that for 1.5 seasons. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I think yes, the fans want a trophy, but underlying, they need to actually think about where the club is. Their finances are going to be so hit where if they do not get Europa League football, will be bad for them. But if they don't get any European football, I'm telling you, Harry Kane is gone.
Sold as well.
Has to be sold. And I'm not saying being sold, and trust me, and they're going to be in so bad financially, they're not going to be sold for the big money that they should be sold. Yeah, Tottenham will literally have to take whatever they can get. I'm talking probably, instead of 200 for Harry Kane, they're probably going to have to take 130, 120. You know, that's
It's true.
how peak the finance will be. So I know Tottenham fans want a trophy, but
It's mad. It's mad. Got the Spurs Chelsea game in the background as well.
yeah.
Still 1-0. Like, so it's true. What the truth is saying is true. If they don't get any Europe, it's kind of peak for them. But just to finish on Arsenal, I know we're going to do the prediction for the game, but I just wanted to talk about one player, Pepe. We've seen a bit of form with him. He seems like he's getting better. I know everyone's calling the £70 million flop at this moment in time, but from what you're seeing, is he starting to show signs of what he was doing in the French league? Has he shown that he's starting to adjust to the Premier League, or do you just think, nah?
I've always said, and I've said it in this, in this podcast loads of times. Give Pepe a run of games. These special footballers that love the ball, that are skillful, they need look. So what it is now, footballers, especially European footballers and the European game in general, it's about passing, it's about running. Two things: passing and running. That doesn't take as much skill as a player like Pepe, a player like Hazard, that love to run, love to take on players. Taking on players is a skill. It's an art that's probably lost now. It's less and less in the game. So these kind of players definitely need game time. They need a run of games so they can get into that mode. Even a player like Martial, I think the reason why he struggled is because he'll get a run of games and then he'll either get injured or he'll be on the bench, for 1 or 2 games. So I think that stifles his progress as well. But definitely with a player like Pepe, run of games does him a lot, and it does him confidence. You can see he's got the skill. We've seen the skill. This guy is just bands mans for for jokes,
That's
dropping
it.
that shoulder for jokes, and he's showing it. I think the goal he scored against Wolves, he nutmeg thing. I can't remember who nutmegged him.
I think he made a man sit down, not make a Mets
Yeah,
man, and then pinged it with his right foot as well.
that's what I'm saying. He's top bins as well. I always knew he's got it in him. He just needs a run of games for consistency. And what needs to happen as well is that fans need to, especially Arsenal fans. I don't mind opposition fans, but Arsenal fans need to be defending their own. Okay, defend their own players. Like I'm not talking about the. Even to opposition teams, I'll defend Xhaka. But against the opposition, you defend them because we know the skill Pepe has. Why are you calling him a flop and he's your player? I don't get it. Yes, you can criticize him, but don't go over the top where a guy doesn't have confidence and you're there harping on about it, especially on fan channels that goes out globally and it becomes a narrative, especially for a player like Pepe, which needed a run of games. I'm sick of this fan culture where we're over criticizing. We're over heaping pressure on players, especially young players. Remember, he's only what, 25?
Yeah,
Yeah,
still
he's
a
only
young man in a
25.
foreign country. Yeah,
Exactly. In his second season, no, third
no second,
season now. Yeah.
no second. Is it? You bought him last. You bought him last season.
Yeah. Sorry. Second season. Second season. And last season, his stats weren't that bad. I think he's contributed the most to our goals this season. I know a lot of it came in the Europa League, but the talent is there. So for me, I've always said, give him time. I've seen the skill in him. Give him a run of games. Arteta said as well, he needs a run of games. They're going to support him, and we're benefiting now. Like, I love our attack, to be honest. I think our attack is just deadly. Saka, Smith Rowe, Pepe. Only thing I do, I probably drop Xhaka in the middle, put Odegaard in there because I think Odegaard offers a lot more than Xhaka would. They're both left-footed. Odegaard could spot a pass from nowhere. He's that type of player. Defensively, yeah, we may not be that great, but we need to start going for games. We can't, we need to start killing games off with chances. So, yeah, no, I'm happy. Obviously, result wasn't good, but going forward, I'm in a good place.
As I said, it looks good. Arteta's finally, to me, being obviously an opposition fan, it looks like he's got his players play in a certain way in the way he wants to do things. As we all know, and you'll know because you're a coach, the first thing you do when you go into a new club is try and sort things out defensively if you're leaking goals.
Yes.
And then you work from there, and he's don't get me wrong, he can still get a couple better players at the back, but he's trying to make it you lot as solid as possible. And you haven't been conceding many goals. All those 6-0s and 5-2s and 8-2s and all the rest of it. Like you don't think you'll ever see that in an Arsenal game again, or maybe City might have a 3-0 or something, but that's as high as it will probably go. Even City, you lot have played well against, and it's not happened.
Yeah.
And obviously now we're starting to see the attacking side of it. I mean, you don't be the assistant to Pep putting up cones and not learn a thing or two about attacking. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it looks good, and it looks like he has a style in the system, and he's things are looking good going forward. I know a lot of fans are still want his blood and they don't want him there and they want him out, but he's starting to turn a couple, and now it's good to see it. I like what he's trying to do, and as much as I'm an opposition fan, I hate to see Arsenal, just like ourselves, like suffering and not being involved in like the big game, like not it being a big game meaning something. You know what I mean? Not if it's not for a title or a place in top 4 in the FA Cup semi-final, final, Champions League and whatnot. Like you want them in the mix. So it's all good, and we'll see what happens against Villa this weekend. Obviously, we're going to do a prediction a little bit later on. Still 1-0 to Chelsea, only 10 minutes left in the game. We're going to move on to the spectacular 9-0 with United and Southampton. Truth, when you're ready, man.
I don't know what to make of that game, to be honest, because it happened. Everything happened so quickly, where the red card came out, and you're just like, and by the way, it was a red card. Like, there's no disputes about it.
So high.
Yes, it's the only reason I could see that not being a red card is if the referee just thinks it's too early. But
VAR would have overturned that. They would have.
Yeah, I think VAR would have just overturned it regardless. Yeah. So yeah, this happened so early, and for me as an opposition fan, considering the results lately, I call it United just smell blood. I believe if that's 11 against 11 for just 11 against 11, I don't think that game goes anything like that, because I don't think United attack so freely at all. I think they smell blood, man advantage. They just committed people forward, and when you have the talent that United do, they would just punish teams. The thing about it I would say is that why don't United go hell for leather all the time? Especially in these games versus teams like Southampton, where they're struggling for confidence. You know, they're low in the table. They're not really playing for much. Go for it. You've got the fire. I've always said it. It's lazy football when you have the firepower, but your strategy is counterattack. It's so lazy. Like, why? Just go for the game. Want to know your thoughts?
I don't disagree with you. Look, I don't think it's a case of United don't go for the game. I get what you're saying in terms of the way how we absolutely destroyed Southampton in 9-0. Why don't we do that in other games? But as you said, if it was 11 against 11, the game doesn't go that way. And there's 2 reasons for it. 1, Ollie's a coward, so he won't. And 2, we don't have the patterns and the system to break down teams. It's freestyle football. So there's no patterns, there's no style. Look, when you watch a Liverpool game, you know what's going to happen. Yeah. Salah and Mane, they're going to get balls played in behind, run onto them, boom, score. Firmino's going to drop deep, play the false 9, right? And Trent and Andy Robertson are going to supply crosses into the box. Yeah. When you watch City, you know, triangles, hexagons, pentagons. If De Bruyne is on there, they play through him. De Bruyne has been injured and they've still been winning. But one of the main things you can guarantee, Mane will kill a ball dead, cut inside, whip it in, or Sterling will score a goal at the back post, tap in. That's how he gets majority of his goals, right? Spurs, with Maureen, it's similar to Ollie, where it's just counter-attacking football.
Yeah.
With Man United, you don't know what you're gonna get. You don't have a clue, bro. It's like it's a lottery with Man United. 1 minute you can get, and it's because there's no style and there's no system.
Yeah.
So you can have all the players on the pitch, but the fact of the matter is, because nothing's been drilled, because there's no coaching involved, players don't know where to go, what to do, and there's no repetition. So you don't see like, oh yeah, the ball from Fred to Bruno to Pogba to Rashford whips it in, or something along those lines, or put it play out to the fullbacks. You don't see any of that. It's just, well, what are we going to do today, lads? Like, it's whoever has the ball, it's just like, well, yeah, we'll just freestyle it and see what happens. So with Southampton having 11 players, they would have put the low block, and we wouldn't have broken them down, and then it could have been anything. Southampton could have won the game. It could have been a draw. We could have got a lucky 0-0. But what happened was early red card, and I think the way in which I feel sorry for the youth, because I think it was his debut and whatnot, and he's got in high. I think that kind of riled them up, because it's like, you could have done some real damage to McTominay because of how high it was, it was. And then after that, bro, like, we just camped in their half. Southampton were a bit naive, because they should have subbed Danny Ings and put on a proper, like, even Redmond, they could have put him on, because he couldn't track. Bruv, he was not finding Wan-Bissaka at all, bruv. He could have had a sat-nav, he wasn't finding Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka, who a lot of people criticize for not going forward, bro, he was playing like Trent. He was forward.
This is what I mean about the red card affecting the game, because we never see Bissaka forward, but he was just camped in their half. He got the first goal. He was just there playing like Cafu. I was like, wow.
He was just there, bruv, trying to do a couple of step overs, like cutting the balls back, crossing the balls in. It was mad. And then Luke Shaw, again, the form that he's on, he was brilliant in the first half.
Yeah.
And then the thing is that within that, everyone that needed something from the game got it. So Wan-Bissaka got a goal, boost his confidence in terms of going forward. Luke Shaw got 2 assists, so he carries on his form. Rashford, how terrible he's been, absolutely awful that he's been, got a goal, and then obviously played a brilliant ball across for the own goal. Bruno got his custom penalty. And then Tony comes on at half time, and bruv, shows what happens when he gets service. He bangs 2 goals, both brilliant chest control, bruv. Brilliant chest control and volleys. And then obviously George of the Jungle got his header, and even Sonic got his goal. So overall, it was just a fantastic performance, and credit where credit is due. Ollie made the changes at halftime, which I wanted him to do. Gave Donny 45 minutes, gave Tony 45 minutes. Tony got some confidence.
Yeah, very important for them.
We got important players off so that we could rest them, because obviously we got the big game against Everton on the weekend, and we came out with no injuries and a clean sheet as well, even though that nearly went with that Che Adams.
I think that should have been given.
I thought he was onside. Looking at it, I thought he was onside, but hey, I haven't got the technology that VAR have. But yeah, 10 men, then going down to 9. Obviously, that red card has been rescinded. As I said to you, when I watched it live, I thought it was the same instance as David Luiz, except I thought Martial was smarter because he kind of crossed him. But then in hindsight, watching it again, VAR got it wrong, because they should have overruled it and said no. Like, you can see that Martial's already on his way down. There isn't really any contact. And that puts questions into VAR, because the fact that it's still gone to an appeal and Southampton have won it means, all right, referees can make mistakes, we know that, but VAR shouldn't be making mistakes like that.
Yes,
they shouldn't, and that's why the fans will get onto VAR, and why a lot of fans hate it, because some mistakes are still being made, which is fair, because there's still going to be teething problems. But I think instead of fans getting onto VAR, it's more the standard of refereeing in this country that is being questioned, but that's conversation for.
I do actually want to touch on that. As you said, the Bednarek red card got rescinded, and as you said, and the David Luiz one didn't. And for me, them rescinding the Bednarek red card shows the lack of consistency. Not because as I said, when you look at it again, you are now calling it a clear and obvious error.
Mm.
And as you said, VAR should have seen that and called it a clear and obvious error. The one thing I will say about it is that Martial was already going down. Like he was. But do you punish Martial? In that case, does Martial get a yellow card? Or is he anticipating contact? And if he is anticipating contact and you don't give a yellow card, then it must be a penalty.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he's anticipating the contact. I don't think I think the easiest thing for the referee to do in that situation, he gives the penalty, VAR overrules it, and just says, get on with it. I think everyone goes away happy if that's the case. I don't think you'll get too many. I don't think his match control will go. I don't think you'll get people like managers coming out and saying, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of them ones where it's not a dive. It's not a dive. I think he's anticipating the contact and he's gone down. I don't think it's a dive. I think we've seen way worse than that in terms of diving. And I hate diving. It's one of my pet peeves in football. And obviously we've seen it. We were seeing it getting slowly going out the game, which is here because I hate it. But I don't know. Do you give him a yellow card for diving? I don't know about that one. I'd have to let my superiors answer that one.
and that's the thing. It just comes to consistency for me. I don't like, as much as I believe that the Luiz one was a red card, I find it hard to swallow that the Bednarek one was overturned and the Luiz one had to stand. I think
the Luiz one was more contact though.
Yeah. I was.
I think that's
both slight
is.
touches. With Luiz one, it's more like his boot hit, and then I don't know if you saw it properly, but then his boot like dragged across the floor.
Yeah.
I do kind of believe that the player felt the contact, and he dragged his boot on the floor himself. I know running at that speed, any slight contact, but we played football. If I'm like that, and the way that it connected with the bottom of the boot, it wouldn't make me fall like that. That's what I would say. It wouldn't make me fall like that and put my boot into the dirt. That would only happen if I'm running beside somebody and the clip's coming up the side, not from behind, not the sole of the shoe. That's what I would say. But and this is the issue with referees. And I don't know if you can attest to this. They are out of touch because majority of these guys, I would say, have not played football. I would say the majority of guys have not played football. These guys are postmen, flipping farmers, firemen, policemen. I would take a guess and say a lot of these guys have not played football to even a low level. And this is why they can't make these common sense decisions, I believe. I think common sense goes out the window a lot with refereeing, and they are so stuck on the laws of the game and they're just applying it. Instead, if they just take extra time to think, that's happened to me before, or I've seen that situation before, let me just think about it before I make a hasty decision. What's your thoughts on that?
I think, and this is what I heard people saying, this is why players should become referees. and because they played the game and they understand it. Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher went to a refereeing session. I guarantee you they never, ever, ever want to accept the challenge of being a referee, because it's one of the hardest jobs. Jobs to do. To be fair, quite a lot of these referees have played football, not the highest level. When I'm talking about professionally, but a lot of them have been semi-pro or played Sunday league. That's how a lot of referees get into it. They were playing. They obviously weren't good enough to go far up the summer. Some of them have done. Some of them were really good players. One of the guys that mentored me, he was a really good player. But then they fall into it because obviously not good enough, but they love the game, and then it's like, oh yeah, let's referee. The laws of the game, right? When you get to those sort of levels, you have to apply law. I understand what you're saying about common sense, right? But the laws are the laws, and they're there for a reason. And what people fail to realize is even at the top level, they're still getting marked. They're still getting marked for what they do. So if they're not applying the laws in the way that they're supposed to, that goes against them, and then that's demotion, and you don't want that. I will say, compared to the other foreign leagues, the standard of refereeing over here isn't as good, which is why bar Howard Webb, no one else has really gotten the top games in European football and in international football. Even though Howard Webb is a blue boy, but yeah, the laws are the laws, and you just have to apply them. Unfortunately, look at the offside one with Rodri. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them in which if you apply law, everything, the referee and the assistants have done everything well. But when you look at it from the human side of it and apply common sense, it's like, come on, bro. Like, really? So they're in a catch-22 where they have to apply the law, but at the same time take the wrath of everyone else, because it's just like, bro, just have a little bit of common sense and see that. You're going.
But this is the thing, but if they do apply common sense, for me, they're not going to get the same blowback. Like for me, let's say the Arsenal one. If he did give a yellow card, I don't think there's much blowback on it. I think
there's not much blowback in it in terms of the media and
but his marking,
players,
his marks will be done.
His marks will be like, well, nah, he should have gone, because you're supposed to apply the law. He is the last man. It is dog, so and he's got to go. There's no if buts and maybes about it. It's dog, so
what if the referee looked in it and this was phase of thinking. So I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. What if the referee looks at it and then he's asked, why did he not give a red card and a yellow card? And then he would say, because David Luiz didn't make a challenge and he felt that the striker not initiated contact, but his, breaking it down. But would he be marked down regardless of his reasoning?
I don't think there's a way out of it. There isn't a way out of it. I can understand what you're saying. I know what you're trying to get at, but it's either it's dog so and he's got to go, or the players initiated a contact and therefore you're not giving anything for it. Because I think when that ball goes through, does Leno get it in his hands in the end?
No. So the contact actually came when the player had the ball under control. So
yeah. So I think the game carries on, or referee gives a free kick the other way for the player initiating the contact. I think it's black and white with this one. It's either dog show only goes, or you give the free kick the other way because you believe the strikers initiated the contact. I don't think you could. I don't think you could say anything to get a way out of it in terms of in law, to try and get your way out of it when he's being marked by the higher authorities, unfortunately. And these are the things that people don't realize, is that even if the media and the players and the managers are all like, oh, I don't want this referee again, blah blah blah. Yes, from a moral standpoint, it's like, oh my days, like everyone's against me. But then when he goes to the back and realizes that, hey, I haven't done any mistakes, I got every decision that I needed to get right, they're not going anywhere. They're still going to be refereeing the next week in the Premier League rather than, okay, well, you've done this, so down to the Championship for you.
But then, you know, on the other point, there's the referee at United where, you know, the Belgian thing was a total mess. So
yeah, and that's the thing. You got the other end of the spectrum where Mike Dean gets the first one spot on. I mean, he was standing right there. He saw it spot on.
Yeah.
The second one, he's given it. And the thing is, as I said, I can understand why. Because when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, penalty all day long.
Did he go check the monitor?
Yeah, he went to the monitor. But here's the thing. This is what I said. He went to the monitor, but they were so fixated on seeing whether it was a red card, whether it was a red card offence, that they forgot to actually look and see if there was contact made. And obviously, as we see the next day, when you look at it again, Martial's already on his way down. But in the heat of the moment, you're just looking at it and you're like, all right, cool, I made the right decision. Let me send them off. But I think that's more the referee, that whoever was in Stockley Park that made a ricket here more than Mike Dean, because Mike Dean only gets to see it once. Has a look at the monitor, they discuss it. But I think they were so fixated in seeing whether or not it's denying a goal scoring opportunity that they actually forgot to look at whether or not Martial was already on his way down or not. And obviously that's the other end of the spectrum. And then it's a case of, okay, well, now you have to justify what's happened there and why that wasn't addressed at the time of the game. Yeah. So it's listen, listen, even from Sunday League all the way to the top, it's nothing but pressure as a referee, bro.
It is pressure. I do have loads of respect, you know. It's something that I want to venture into. You know, I keep on saying, obviously, when football comes back, it's something I do want to venture into. But I want to venture into it because I believe that the refereeing standard in this country is a very poor level. Whether if it's agendas or it's the training's not there, I just don't like the lack of common sense being used sometimes. And for me, you know, we grew up with the Colinas. Colina for me was a master.
Don Colina, bruv.
You know, Colina was a master in terms of just having control of it. He was never out of control of a game. Never out of control of a game. The game was always in his hands. And what he did, even without VAR, he would take a second to go over in his head what he saw. And he would put the pieces together. And I like that. These referees, for me, they seem quick to either brandish cards or make a decision. I don't know why. I don't know if that's in the if that's in your thing to do.
Supposed to you always take your time.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think
you buy yourself, especially when it comes to red card decisions.
Yeah.
Always. But I do look at referees. Obviously, Mike Dean with the first one, he saw it and he knew. Like some of them you just know.
Yeah, that's
so you just brand it. Yeah. But there's some other ones, especially when it comes to a commotion.
Yeah.
A mass a commotion. You always take your time and have a look, pull the players over. It gives you time to think. And obviously, because they've got their mic'd up, they can have the conversations with their assistants and see if they've seen anything that they haven't seen. But I get what you're saying in terms of some of them are just so quick to just pull out the cards willy-nilly.
Well, what I would say, looking through the list of the Premier League referees, I think it's important that, you know, we talk about not racism, but we talk about representation. And you look through it, and all of the Premier League referees have one thing in common. They are all and it's not for me, it's not a representation of football right now. When you look in the Premier League, I think it's 50% minorities or probably even more than that. You know, they make up a large amount, but in the referee, and they're all northern white referees, I think it's important that in terms of the refereeing association, that they not only diversify, but they give loads of other people from other communities a chance to be refereed and make it more what's the word, feasible to become a referee. The route is much more easier. But because for me, once you just have a small group, northern white men, small group of people that are able to become referees, for me, you're only gonna get one standard of refereeing. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're only gonna get a thought process from that small section that you got there. Well, let's say you got a wider cultural perspective or a wider arm range, you're gonna have different thoughts of decisions or different range of decision making. I think at the moment we just got a decision making just from a select few, and I don't think it's I think the representation is very poor. I'm looking through it now, like
it is, and it's one of them ones where I think the representation thing is a thing. But I think the standard of refereeing has to be higher. I think that's the first thing that needs to be addressed. The standard of the refereeing has to get better, and it has to be higher to match or our European counterparts, especially. That's the first thing. And obviously diversification and representation of other ethnic minorities as well. But what you also need to realize is not a lot of ethnic minorities like want to be referees. I'm not saying
it's as easy as that. I think
it's not as easy as that. But when you look at it from the standpoint of when you look at the percentages aren't there. Do you know? You get what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that they don't want it, but it's one of them ones where you look at the percentages. It's a lot more Caucasian people that want to do the refereeing rather than ethnic minorities. And
why is it just northern though?
Wow. We have to have that conversation off camera. There's only so much I can say, but all I will say is they push their referees a lot more.
Okay.
And that's all. That's all I was saying. That on that. I think Martin Tyler even brought it up. I can't remember. It was a Spurs game. I think it was a London derby, and he was like, "Oh yeah, London derby, but no London referee." And yeah, there's a lot of politics involved when it comes to that. But that's all I can say in that. But you did bring up something that I just wanted to bring up quickly before we go into our match predictions for the weekend. Obviously, the guy in my background, we've seen a lot of racial abuse over the past. I mean, it's been going on for a while, but just recently, high profile. Obviously, you got Martial, even the youth yesterday for Southampton on Tuesday. Imagine young youth, bruv, getting racially abused. Reece James, Rashford, who's feeding these guys' kids, right? Racial abuse, and time and time again, we see that the social media companies aren't interested. Obviously, we've got Kick It Out and all these other what's the word I'm looking for? Other campaigns that are out there, which to me personally, I don't really. They're just there. I mean, you'll know a lot more than me when it comes to that. But what? And then Uncle Righty. I don't know if you saw that. Obviously, the youth that they caught, and then they said, "Oh yeah, well, I don't." They basically just threw it out and said, "Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it." What is it gonna take? What are we gonna have to do? I mean, we're two black men trying to do going down different paths. You're going down the coaching path. I'm going down the refereeing path. But we all love the game. What can we do to try and force these social media companies and these football associations to try and eradicate all this foolishness, bro?
So what I believe now, and I think I was a little bit naive before, where I used to think, apart from in the stadiums, I used to think social media, I used to believe it was fans that were racially abusing their own players. But I'm almost sure now that it's not fans of the teams doing it. I think these are internet trolls or, undercover racists or whatever you may call it. I don't believe, because it's happening too often and for no particular reason, I just can't believe those, these people that are doing it are fans of the team. Like
I can.
No, the reason I say that because it came after the United game against Arsenal. It wasn't a loss. It wasn't like Rashford had, missed gilt-edged chances. It's so minuscule. Like, why would you racial abuse overplay over a 0-0 draw? I get it. Not that I get it, but like, has what? Unless the world's become so crazy, maybe lockdowns made people go crazy where they're like, they're losing it. But I just can't believe these guys are fans of the team, because then if you're a fan, why would you support Man United?
Bro,
If you're a racist, why would you support Man United? You got Pogba, Martial, Rashford, Bailly, all these black players, Fred, all these black players. Go and support Millwall. Go go and support your team. I just can't really buy that they're fans of the teams, first of all, that are doing this. I think these are internet trolls. I think there's maybe a group of people that want to, make another team's fan base look bad by doing this. Maybe they're Chelsea fans. Who knows?
So
we know Chelsea had a history with that. But yeah, I'm starting to believe that they're not fans of these teams, first of all, so to speak. So I'll start with that. And secondly, and I've said it ever since it started increasing, social media now has to, if you need an account, make sure people have some ID on there. Whether it's driving license, whether it's, your birth certificate, whether it's a bank account, whatever, attach some sort of ID so that we know who is doing this. And then once we know, put their names out there, okay? Put their names out there in the news, in the media, so then what their work will know, their friends will know that, that they're racist, because it's getting too much now. It's getting, and there's no punishment for it at the moment. As you said, that that child that got away with it, Wright was right. Ian Wright was right. It's pathetic. You've literally now said it's open season.
Bruv, imagine. So obviously we're calling for the social media companies to do more, right? Uncle Righty has found the youths openly admitted that he did it. And bro goes to court and man just says, yeah, nah, it's all right. Don't worry about it. So even then, it's just like, you know what? Even if we get caught, who cares? Because they're not going to do anything anyway. So we might as well. We'll show our faces. Because all it's going to do is we're going to go to court and it's going to be like, oh, well, they're not that type of person. He's a good lad. He was getting his GCSEs. Like, are you being serious, bro? Are you being fucking serious? Right? So you got man doing their jobs, right, as footballers or whatever. Obviously, it happens in other sports. Well, it happens in everyday life, right? It happens in everyday life, right? But these guys are high profile, getting abused for what? For not winning a game. And I get what you're saying about it not being fans of the teams, but I think some of them are, bro. Some of them are like how many times have we seen fans absolutely boo, like let me use Raheem Sterling at Man City, boo him, bruv, like to the point where they hate him. But then when he scores a goal for England, they're celebrating. So, bruv, it can be the fans, fan base. I think it's a minority of them. I completely agree that majority of them probably don't even support the teams, but just like, oh yeah, they've had a bad game. One of the pundits have highlighted it, so let me go in on them and write and blah blah, and I'm going to get away with it. We've seen now that the UK have said that they're going to start fining the social media companies if they don't do more.
I think that's a start. I think that's good.
Don't do more to tackle the online abuse. But are they really going to implement that?
Do you believe, though, that's more of a cash grab? Because they're thinking now, let's benefit from this rather than,
it's always about money. It's always about money. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some underlying that, let's try and get some money, bro, because we're going through Corona right now.
Exactly.
We need to boost the economy and all that.
Exactly. look, racism right now in this country, globally, is institutional. For me, it's institutional. As we just discussed with the refereeing, we're talking about a whole group and whole organization right now. I know it's minority, but I remember when they used to just give the token black person. Remember Uriah Rennie?
Uriah Rennie, man. Yeah.
They're not even doing that no more. It's a little bit, for me, institutionalized in the game. Board level at football. I don't know. I think representation at board level, I'm talking about high board level, I think it's like 1% or less than that. That's represented by, BME. Managers. I mean, do we count Nuno?
No, I think that's all we got. That's all we got.
Do we take Nuno?
That's all we got, because they count him. Like, when you see the Premier League, they'll be like, there's one, Nuno.
I guess we take what we get. We have to take Nuno. I know Houghton's back at, I can't remember where he went to.
Is that Forest? Is he at Forest?
I think, is it Forest? I think it's Forest. Can't remember, but I know Houghton's back. Representation of sports, so it's institutional, where it's within the country, and I don't think from a football point of view, it's gonna change anytime soon if it's so institutionalized. But what we can do as a community of fans, what we can do as as the minority, is reduce it a little bit by putting pressure on these organizations, these social media organizations, to at least get it off there. It's easy. As I said, make sure everyone's ID is connected to their account. Trust me, it will drop.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it will drop. It will drop.
Of course. But my whole thing is, I think the social media companies are thinking, if we do that, then they're not going to have as many people on the actual social media aspect.
Exactly.
But I'm sorry, we're living in an age where, with the technology that we have, they can find IP addresses and use algorithms to find these people and source them out. So I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we're still having to do this, bro.
They can though. Think about it, because it's a law. It's against the law to be using any racial slurs now. Of course, it's against the law. It's official law.
But they won't do it. But they'll find, like, obviously you can't do it, but they'll find stuff when we talk about what we talk, like people talk about when you're talking about what they're planning to do with us and whatnot. Right? You say something about that, and they'll find you instantly and shut you down.
It's true.
Yeah, but when you got man talking about man's color and whatnot, sorry, we can't do this, or we're looking into it, but nothing ever comes of it. And then when it gets to the highest level where they find them, nothing comes to it anyway. So it's like, as a black man playing any sport, you're like, what's the point, bro?
That's true.
What is the point? Me personally, I wouldn't say, because it's not just a football issue, it's not just a social media issue. Yeah, it's a global issue. Yeah, we deal with it every day. We know the racial undertones and all that, and the language that's used against us and all the rest of it to make it look like that people are. But we know because we've lived it every day of our lives. We've lived it. You know what I mean? But until everyone comes together as one and tries to eradicate this, and it always comes down to the common denominator: hit these companies in their pocket and see how quickly things change. Yeah. So can you imagine if every black footballer said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm coming off IG. I'm coming off Twitter. I'm coming off Facebook.
That's it.
I'm saying, I'm just going to come off all them social media things. They are fucked, right? And they will instantly be like, oh, you know what? Cool. We need to sort this out.
Exactly.
We need to sort this out. Because them man, they're earning more than enough money. So you don't need the social media platforms. So if them man, they just say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm coming off it. I'm not going to be there. All the big man, Pogba, Mbappe, Neymar, all these man, Rashford, MBE, feeding these racist kids, feeding their kids, and they're still going at him. Yeah, if they all just said, you know what, we're going to be on social media no more, coming off it, bruv. Watch how quickly things change.
Of course,
and watch how quickly they find these people, and watch how quickly these people that get caught start getting convicted. when you have to hit them in their pockets to see change.
Yeah, I agree.
It's as simple as that.
100%.
It's as simple as that. But I mean, Truth and I could go on more, but you know, we need to wrap up. Truth, you got the. I know we didn't do a prediction because we had the United Arsenal special, but you got the fixtures for this weekend.
Got it all up. We got the first game, Arsenal Aston Villa. I'm gonna let you go first on this one.
Do you know what? Yeah, Aston Villa are not on the greatest bit of form right now. They keep winning and losing.
Yeah.
No Leno. Is that Matt Ryan? Is he fit?
I hope so. I hope so because
if you got that goalkeeper, that was in that what was it, League Cup or whatever it was, bruv.
Yeah.
Like, I will happily put Villa winning that game, but realistically, I think you lot will. It's at Villa, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal.
2-1. The keeper thing is an issue. That being said, though, I think last game was Martinez's worst game since he's probably been at.
Lingard.
He had Messi, Lingard running right.
Both of them.
Lingard running right. Yeah, those shots were, they were savable.
Well, they were both savable. I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah, I don't know. He just had a really poor game. So hopefully that continues going against us. But, he's going to want to prove a point. But I like the direction we're headed. If you've got a clean bit of health, apart from the suspensions, then I believe we'll get a 3-1.
Fair enough.
Next game is Man United Everton. Big game, Saturday late kickoff. Man United at home. Remember, I think United win this, they go top of the league at least for 24 hours. So huge importance.
1-1.
Huge importance. 1-1. Really, 1-1.
1-1. I just think that I just think that United have fired all their goals for one game against Southampton, and I think that Everton winning that, surviving against Leeds yesterday, because I think in that second half Leeds played out their skin and couldn't get over the line. I think that will give them confidence, and Everton coming to. I know Everton's record against us is awful, but I think in the last games at Old Trafford, a couple of them they've been draws. And I think Don Ancelotti, he's got Everton playing some decent football. I know they've been on a bit of a sticky run at the moment, but it's got decent football. And bro, as I said, Ollie's Ollie in it. Actually, I'm gonna go 2-1 United. I'll go 2-1 United only because man like Pogba got a good rest midweek, so he should come out firing.
Yeah, you literally going the same squad. I think United are gonna have a little bit too much for Everton because there's too much on the line. In terms of, if they were playing second, I would have probably put a 1-1. But because they're playing first, and it's gonna be let's go out there, win this game, put Man City under pressure. They got that game against Liverpool. I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna change to 3-1 United.
I've only given it 2-1 just because Pogba got a rest. That's it. That is literally it.
I'm gonna go 3-1 United because early in the season, even though Everton were on form, United still got the job done.
Bruv, that's what saved this guy's job, bruv. Honestly.
So I'm gonna go, Moving to Sunday, we got a team that's for me in trouble. Tottenham versus West Brom.
That game's finished 1-0 to Chelsea. Tottenham have lost another one. Maureen is in dire straits at the moment, bro. Apparently, Sugarcane should be back by next week, which is what Maureen must have got him that horse placenta. I give
Oh,
him
man.
that. Nah, I think Spurs will win 2-0. I know.
Whew,
I know
you're
that
confident, boy.
it's
Sam
rubbish.
loves these type of games.
Yeah, I know, but like, bruv, I think this is gonna for the first time Fat Sam gets relegated. I think it honestly is, and I think if Maureen loses that game,
Yeah.
boy, I think Tottenham fans will be calling for his head. So I don't think it's a game that Spurs are at home, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. 2-0 Spurs. 2-0 Spurs. I think they'll get the result. Maureen knows he can't afford to lose that game.
Yeah. Just talking about Spurs, you know, we did call it in terms, as I said, their football is not sustainable. The difference with United and Tottenham is, for me, is the quality. I think United have more individual quality in their team than Tottenham do. But what I feel you just can't do in the Premier League, you can't give up 65% possession every game to every team. Not to every team. Against bigger teams, yes, you can. You know, that's only the odd game. But against smaller teams, you know, I remember the Palace game. They scored early, and then they gave up 60-70% possession against Palace, against Crystal Palace, who don't even want the ball. And they got punished for it. And it's happened a lot. If you go through their games,
it always happens. He goes 1-0 up and then he just sits back.
Yeah, he sits back. His natural disposition is to sit back. They're on a horrible run. They lost to Brighton, lost to Chelsea, lost to Liverpool.
They're on a bad run right now. It's a pattern.
Run.
It's a pattern with Maureen where when it gets to after January, he just believes that he can win these games 1-0 and get through it. And he needs to realize that he doesn't have that anymore. He ain't got John Terry and Ricardo Carvalho. Like, he hasn't got Sergio Ramos. Like, do you know what I mean? Or what's his name? Or was it Cannavaro and Materazzi at Inter? Like, he hasn't got that. Like, man's got sideways Dyer and Matt Doherty, bro. So you can't do.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And the thing is, they were banging goals. They were banging goals with Son and Kane.
That's what I'm saying. So it's strange for me at the start of the season, and actually, it's not strange to me because this is how he's begun. I remember at United, his second season, they started off amazing.
Yeah, we were banging goals.
And then he said, you know what? I'm just going to win every game now from 1-0. Didn't work out. Went too defensive. Went into every single game trying to say we're going to let the other team have the ball. And you can't do that in this day and age.
But
it's not sustainable.
He's not going to change. He's just going to keep doing it because of his CV. And I respect his CV, and I 100% agree that he has to have some form of arrogance because of all the stuff that he's won. But my whole thing is that we've moved on from that. That era is well and truly over now. And unless he adapts like the way how Ancelotti's adapted to what's going on and the style of play. He has to adapt, or else this is just going to be a revolving door. Like, don't get me wrong, I think him being at Spurs is a match made in heaven purely because they won a trophy. But in terms of long term, bro, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Long term, I feel sorry for. No, I feel sorry for them. The thing.
You don't feel sorry for Spurs.
Yeah, but Spurs long term, or any Spurs fans long term, you guys are in trouble. We've seen how Mourinho leaves all of his teams.
I've lived it. So I've lived it at United. So and I see how toxic he gets. And
every
team, apart from Inter. Inter was media, not the team.
But then he left Inter with the aging team.
Yeah,
there was no youth coming through. Zero youth. I think the average age was like 30, 31, like, you know. So
but yeah, Spurs are in trouble. But let it be. No trophies. If they finish outside of Europa, Sugarcane and Son will be for sale, bro. It's open season at Tottenham Hotspur, bro. So let it happen. But I still think they'll beat West Brom 2-0.
You know my rule. I don't bet a Tottenham win, so I'm gonna go 1-1. You know what? Does Big Sam get a result here? I really do fancy this game for Big Sam, you know. Like, guy, if anyone there out there betting and they want to slip me a few, put money on Big Sam, 2-1. But I'm gonna go for the sake of this, because I do wanna, because the last time I think TJ beat me.
You and Mr. K
Well,
got the last one.
Yes, and me and K got the last one. But I don't like that TJ got the one before that, so I want to win this. So I want a full sweep. I want a run going on, but he ended that. So I'm gonna go 1-1. Again on Sunday we are looking at. Wait, where am I? Oh, I'm on Tottenham. That's fine. Ooh, okay, the big one. Liverpool, Man City.
The title decider, bruv.
Liverpool at home. Liverpool coming off a very, very bad loss to Brighton.
The title decider, bruv. Ah, my gosh. Well, I think it's said Matip is out for the whole season.
Yeah.
Joe Gomez and Van Dijk are nowhere near returning.
They got Kabak.
They got Kabak and what was his name? Oh, Ben Davis from where? Preston. Was it Preston?
Yeah.
Boy, hold tight, them minute. Hold tight, them minute. Like that's how that desperation is real, bruv. When you got to go fishing.
Fabinho's out as well, isn't it?
Is he out?
Yeah, I think Fabinho's out. Remember, he got injured against
Oh yeah. Bruv, they need to call Mourinho, get that horse placenta that you gave to Harry Kane and give it to Firmino, bruv. Bloody hell. It's at Anfield. Do you know what it is, right? Liverpool can't afford to lose.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why I can't say, because I want to say City's just going to wipe the floor with them. But because Liverpool cannot afford to lose, I'm going to go 1-1.
Really?
No, 2-2. I'm going to go 2-2. No, wait.
Really?
But no, City ain't conceded. I'm going to go 1-1. 1-1. I'm going to go 1-1 because if City concede, they're only going to concede one goal. But like that, I'm going to go with that just because Liverpool can't afford to lose. But I could easily go 2-0 City.
I'm going to give you time to reconsider after I say, because I believe without all those players, there's no way Liverpool can match Man City. I think City, even when Liverpool were winning titles, City in the games were the dominant side. I remember last season where, was it 3-0
to Liverpool, but City had so many chances. Yeah. It was ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah. And Liverpool literally scored off their only 3 chances.
Yeah.
So City are dominant in all the games, and if they take their chances, I think it's going to be a game. And with that defense, oh man, I think Liverpool have to play too defensively. They can't play gung-ho like they normally do. They have to play more defensively, more conservatively. And I think it's going to work in City's favour. Also, I don't know about Mane. I don't know if Mane is going to be fit.
Oh, like Well, Alisson, what was wrong? I think Alisson, there's something with Alisson.
Yeah, Alisson too. Like.
But I think the Alisson one, I think he was ill.
I think Alisson be back.
I think he had a cold or something. I think he'll be back. Like they just give him a flu injection and throw him out there. But if Mane doesn't play, bruv, that game's finished. But
this is what I'm saying.
There's so many variables. But do you know it's just the fact that Liverpool cannot. I know they've lost back to back at home because they lost to yesterday. They lost to
Brighton.
They played Brighton, and then obviously before that they lost to Burnley. But I'm still going to say 1-1. They cannot afford to lose.
1-1. Okay, fair enough.
They cannot afford to lose.
I'm going to say 2-0 Man City. I think it's going to be a cakewalk.
Fair enough.
I think Liverpool are missing too many people. If Liverpool win this game, considering how they look against Brighton, then Klopp, just on the basis, should be manager of the season. Because you have no defence. Or best replacement defender is gone in Fabinho. If Mane is missing, that's your 3-pronged attack gone.
But as I said, the fact that he still got them in within touching distance for a title race, bruv, he deserves credit regardless.
Yeah.
Because no other manager with that especially with defense, people could probably say Pep, but Pep can't do it with that defense. We've seen what he's done with better defenses than that, and it hasn't worked, especially last season. You know what I mean? So the fact that Klopp still getting them in there, he deserves a medal. But it's going to be one of them games. If Mane and Alisson ain't there, bro, it's going to be 3-0 minimum. 3-0 minimum for City. I'm not even joking.
I can see that. I think City are just playing with so much confidence right now. I can only see a City win. Last game, Sheffield United versus Chelsea. I think
Sheffield United are on a bloody run right now, bruv.
They are. It's not foregone.
It's not, but I think Tuchel's he's got Chelsea playing. Like, obviously, they're not pulling up trees and blazing teams, but you can see the patterns, you can see the system that they're trying to play, and I think their system emulates what Sheffield United do with the three at the back as well.
Yeah.
And I think the way how he's got teams contained, I think Chelsea will probably win that 2-0.
I could see.
But it won't be a walk in the park 2-0. It'll probably be the hardest fought 2-0 that they're gonna have to do, because he's got Sheffield United obviously playing. You got the players playing for the badge at the moment. After that awful start, they could still look like they could, like, if they go on a bit of a run, they could jump out of the relegation. So
it's true. One more win, and then those other teams just start to look over their shoulder when it comes to Sheffield United.
100%.
I mean, they're looking over their shoulder now. When you look at it, whoa, is that the gap between?
Exactly.
There's a large gap between Fulham and Burnley, though.
Yeah, I know. But Fulham got like 3 games in hand or something.
No.
Huh?
They both played the same amount. Burnley 21, Fulham 21. Yeah. They're looking like they're relegated, boy. Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield United.
No, West Brom, I already said, bruv, this is going to be the first time Big Sam's getting relegated. Sheffield United, they're putting up a fight, but I still think they're going to go down.
Yeah,
and
I think
Fulham,
they're too far away.
And I think, and then Fulham look like they're going down as well, even though they've obviously improved a lot since what we were seeing earlier in the season. But I think those three are pretty nailed on. Unless Newcastle continue on this slump.
But then they beat thingy.
But obviously they beat Everton on the weekend, but then lost midweek. So now it's like that. It's not a foregone conclusion, but those 3 in the relegations are not going to have a lot to claw back to try and get out.
That's 8 games. That's like, those games don't come easy for those teams. Like
100%.
But yeah, I'm gonna go 3-0 Chelsea this game. I think, as you said, I'm surprised how organized Tuchel has them already, and you're starting to see patterns evolve. They're sending a lot of crosses on the wings, which is very good. They dominate. I think today's performance against Tottenham dominated that first half, had much possession. So yeah, Chelsea are looking good under Tuchel.
I'm looking over my shoulder, because Chelsea right now, bro, they could go on a run and cause all sorts of problems for people in the top 4, especially with the squad that they have. Because people seem to forget when they're reminiscing about Fat Frank and how awful he was, that like the squad that he had. Yeah, when you look at it, you're like, bro, like, look at the players you had at your disposal, and you're coming out with that dead football. Like, get out of here, man! Like, fucking Fat Frank. Tuchel's showing them what you can do when players have systems and patterns, bruv. Instead of saying, even though Mason Mount's still playing on the Tuchel, at least everything's not going through Mason Mount, bruv.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
I agree with
that. We shall see what happens. But yes, that is it from us, people. Another session done with my guy, The Truth. Before we wrap up, as usual, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you tell a friend, tell their goat to tell a friend. Subscribe to the channel. Join us on our Facebook page and our Instagram page as well. We'll have a lot of stuff going up there as well. We've got more content coming up. We've got UFC coming up. I think we've got the Australian Open coming up in the tennis as well. We haven't done a tennis one either. So a lot more content, a lot more versatility coming in the months to come. But thank you to my guy, the Truth.
It's been a pleasure, guys.
Yes, people, make sure you stay safe, look after your families, and we shall see you very soon. Peace.